Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Life Coaching Access, your daily access with professional certified life coaches brought to you by Life Coach Philippines. And Life Coach Philippines is our community of professional life coaches certified by the Global Institute for Coaches and Entrepreneurs, a bona fide institute for mental health that is based in Dallas, Texas, USA. Life Coaching Access is our service to our community, and we aim to help individuals experience the process of transformation through the platform of life coaching. If you want to know more about our internal coaching classes or our international coaching classes and services, please with Coach Rizal through 0917 586 1661 for assistance. I am Coach Shaun for Inner Game, bringing out the in me. Your access with me is every Friday at 10 p.m. So every week we're gonna have this conversation, this interaction, this engagement for you to be able to learn the inner game. And for my segment today, I will be sharing to you tonight laying the foundation of your inner game. Please tag your friends in the comment below and invite them to join our conversation. You may also share this FB Live to your timeline or FB groups or pages. Do share with it so other people can be blessed and so that we can reach more people and we can help transform lives in the process. So let's begin. It's going to be a wonderful time. So I would ask for you to sit down there, relax. I know it's 10 p.m. You know, you're in that moment. It's a Friday night. You just want to relax. You want to take a moment to breathe in for the whole week. I know you've done a lot of great things out for the week and just want to chill. And this is a great opportunity for you to learn something for today, you know, learn something on a Friday so that tomorrow you'll be refreshed over the weekend and try to think about how things are happening in life right now and how things can be better as well for the good of the good of ourselves, our family, and also the community. So if you think about it, to transform yourself in your life, it is important to know and understand your inner game and your mind, your emotions, the body, and how these domains are in alignment or might be disconnected to your outer game, which is your ideas, your relationship, and also in your environment. And if you are in a space where you're able to put everything in sync, you're able to create a inner game and an outer game where both of the two are aligning, having conversations, and really moving into a space where they're able to, you know, have that handshake for them to be able to create the life that you want for yourself and your family. For everyone who's watching, I am Coach Shaun, as I've introduced, a professional certified life coach, and I help people with stability, clarity, consistency, and influence. If you need help with stability in your professional and personal life, maybe in your business, maybe in your leadership, clarity on where you want to go as far as your leadership is concerned, maybe in your goals that you have in life, your vision of the future, and consistency on the results that you have. Maybe it's something that you want to be able to uh, be promoted as you progress an X number of years, and maybe you would be able to want to deliver things as far as goals is concerned, and also creating an influence and impact to the community and the people that you love and care for you. So let's talk about laying the foundation. Let me when when a company think about it, when a company loses money, most of the time we could blame the external environment, which at times, you know, it can be perfectly valid. If you think about the season right now, the situation that we are in right now, this is where we're seeing it, and it also can maybe, just maybe, it's a lack of leadership quotient. You know, how does a leader own their worldviews? You know, this affects their ability to respond to the up and coming change that's happening. Like during the pandemic, if you think about the pandemic, we've known the news, I think, sometime in December last year, and we know what's going to happen. So during that time, How are the leaders currently planning for what's to happen or what's to come in 2020? And how is this, ability to respond affecting or holding back the company's ability or their businesses or their leadership knowledge to rise to the challenge, to really focus on that, to take action and to pay attention on what is yet to come. Now, in leadership quotient, there are leadership factors that you need to be mindful of. The first one is to inspire with integrity. That's the first one. That's a factor, which means having the spirit or the conscience for you on knowing what is your higher purpose. Why do you do what you do? Why do you wake up in the morning? That's the one leadership factor, and it talks about putting the needs of others before yourself. And the second leadership factor is initiative and innovative. The body and the mind. How do you care? How do you take care of your body and your mind currently? How are you taking care of your well-being? Are you responding to situations in an active or reactive way? Is that something that you're focused upon? And the third leadership factor within the leadership quotient is the impactful influence, which is the biggest thing, your heart. How wide and impactful is your influence? How big is your heart? And who are the people you attract in your life? Because these people, if you know your heart, if you understand your heart, and your heart is beating for something that is not you, now maybe you're attracting the wrong relationship. Maybe you're attracting the wrong people in your life. And these are the things that you need to be able to see, to have that, to inspire with integrity, to have the initiative and the innovation, and also have the impact and influence to do the things that we need to do. And laying the foundation, if you think about it, during the time of the pandemic, many companies are experiencing disruptions in their business. Some of the revenues are declining. There's fear and there's anxiety. They start kicking in. And productivity of the individuals and the motivation goes down, and the need to keep people safe. So if you're a leader in this pandemic during this time, how are you currently thinking of what's happening surrounding you or around you? How are you currently showing up as a leader? And how is your internal conversations happening? What's the conversation like? We blame the disruptions towards these external factors if we think about it, right? These are the things that we feel. Or can we look much deeper towards the mindset of the leaders and see if they can manage the changes better? Because at times we get too much thinking of blaming what their circumstances are. It happened. This happened. This pandemic happened. We blame the pandemic. But how is it that we are responding as a leader? How is it as we are responding as a business leader on the moments that we needed most? Do you guys know this? The Kodak moments. Put in there in the comment box for those who's joining. Thank you very much for joining. I've seen a lot of coaches right now joining the group, the live, and I also see. I think I saw. Sister Shanna, thank you for joining us. And the Kodak moment is, Kodak, right? Kodak is a photographic film company that gave the name the Kodak moment. Pag magpapapicture ka, pa-Kodak tayo. That's what we use instead. Let's have a picture. And it refers to a meaningful event that should be captured forever on a Kodak camera film. And if you think about the story of Kodak, those are the days that they were thriving in their business, right? They were sustaining their performance. It's an iconic global brand. The leadership there is, I'm sorry, The leadership there is great. And during the time when there was a start of a transition from digitalization, this is where Kodak started to, you know, go down. Their performance and the way that they currently handle the business, they didn't change. They didn't start acting on what's happening because those were the days where the performance got started to decline because of arrogance and defiance based on how it was handled during that time. And you know, the benefit of perfect hindsight tells us that Kodak failed to understand the threat in their business transitioning to the digital film. Um, if during that time you have a low leadership quotient, that would explain, if you think about it, before there were planning to acquire one company, which is the pharma company Sterling, and the other one is Philips. And Philips was the one who's moving towards digitalization. But instead, what they thought of buying is Sterling instead because of the silver halide chemistry um, and the Parma, rather than focusing on really what they're good at, which is the camera and the digitalization. And that's where it's all started crumbling down. And we all know what happened, right? We all know what happened to Kodak and what happened to them. And they're not known right now. You have other phones and other cameras right now that are have transitioned to digitalization, and they didn't really invest on the time and the money towards, you know, taking action to adapt to the situation. Let me talk to you about conscious competence. Conscious competence are these are how we currently start learning new things and how we master things. Conscious competence is us being intentional of what we learn, how we invest time on. And it has four stages that I would want you to share. The first one is the unconscious incompetence. This is a situation where you don't know that you don't know how to do something. Like you don't know how to do something. You don't know that you don't know how to do something, right? You're in a space where um, you're doing something. You think that you're doing something right, but you don't really know. It's like I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to drive a car, for example. Like I don't know. I don't have any idea how to do it. And when you move towards the next, which is the conscious incompetence, it's that you know that you don't know how to do something, but it bothers you. For example, maybe you have a driver's license now, but still you don't know how to drive, but that bothers you because you are in a state where, okay, what will I do with this? Like I have a driver's license, I can't drive. And the fourth conscious competence is you know that you know how to do something and it takes effort. Like this is the state where you have the right analysis. Like you know, hey, I need to do something. I need to work on something. I need to take an effort for me to be good at something. But driving takes time for you to practice, to master how to reverse, how to drive forward, how to park. Especially the parking bit is a bit of a challenge for most. But you know that you need to exert effort there and to keep and continuing practicing. And lastly, the unconscious competence is where you know how to do something and it's second nature and you rock at it. Like you're very great at it. It's like second to nature. You know, when you're driving a car, you know how to start it, you know how to reverse park, you know how to, you know how the space is it between the vehicles, you know how far are you from the other bumper. Like it's second to nature. It's automatic. So this is where conscious competence comes in, where you start really focusing on learning new things. But instead of you just living this, drifting, you focus on really the intention on what you need to do and the things that you're doing right now. Let me ask you a question. If you reflect on where you're at right now, the situation that you're in right now, and the things that you're learning, the things that you're reading, the things that you're watching, the things that you're browsing on, where is that heading into? And how is that affecting or influencing the way you make a decision as a leader? You might say, Coach, I'm not a leader. I don't have anyone, reporting to me. No. Leadership starts from within. It starts from you. You lead yourself. Then eventually that would flow towards the people that, you wanna influence. You wanna make an impact. And during the conversations that you have, we are always in a state of playing two kinds of games. We're playing two games. The outer game, the outer game of the leadership consists of leadership competencies. This is the other one, such as developing technical or managerial skills, needing to accomplish results. And most of the efforts of this are developed into mastery in a leadership focus on our competency in the outer game. Because people see it. You exude this. This is something that you would be able to do consistently. And the inner game comprises of the leader's meaning. Why do you do what you do? Making the system out of it, and these things that influences and motivates you to do those things. Your beliefs also is in your inner game. Your assumptions of situations, your assumptions of other people, your assumption of yourself also is your inner game. And eventually this will develop over time, and the way that eventually people would see on how they make sense of the world and how they make sense of the people around you. At the end of the day, all competencies are built in our inner game, which is your meaning making, your self awareness, your emotional intelligence, your resilience, your mental models, your beliefs, your assumptions, your self identity, and your internal operating system. Like currently, how are you operating currently? Are you operating in a survival mode? Are you operating in a carrot and stick, reward and punishment? Or are you operating in a space of intrinsic motivation? That your motivation to do the things that you do is coming from within, coming from your heart to your brain, to your mind, rather than extrinsic, which is just goes to your brain. And all of these things, your inner game needs to be in the platform of consciousness. You need to be conscious about it. You need to be active about it. You need to be intentional about it. The better the outer game and the more mature your inner game is, which is you, the more effective is that person or that individual's leadership. And this is possible for you to measure and quantify by taking a look at your inner game and how you're currently structuring your mindset. Structuring your mind, structuring your beliefs, structuring your attitude towards situations and challenges and problems. When we make a decision based from the past, it's like driving into the future using your rear view mirror. Let me repeat that. Making decision based from your past is like driving into the future using a rear view mirror, because you're always going to pick from the back. And eventually, once you make decisions, you're not going to take risk anymore for those things that you have the power, you are empowered to be successful, because you had this past experience already and you don't want to make that same mistake. But if you think about it, if you reflect on that, are your mistakes really defining who you are right now and in the future? how does that how is it that your past define your future, when we know that are now, we can make the changes and we can make the necessary adjustments in all that we say or we do today to create a better future for ourselves and the people that we want to influence. This worldview that we have significantly impacts the way, you know, our leadership ability understands the difference between what is possible for us and what is probable. Probable means that, man, maybe this will happen, maybe that won't happen again. But possibility means that you're able to take action, that you can do it, that you're seeing there's a light in the tunnel. And our patterns of actions and also our habits of thoughts, if we continuously have the same mindset, have the same belief, have the same attitude towards our past experiences, you're going to be moving in a straight line. And it's going to be always in sequence because you're trying to avoid a pain. You're trying to avoid a fear. Coach Mix us shared this, I think it was yesterday, talking about fear and how becoming a robot is doing a sequence of everything that we do. I'm not exempted to that, by the way. I also have some sequence that I use, but I know it's not serving me anymore. And that changes the way you see things because you know that you would be able to challenge those worldviews of yours that's not serving you and it's not helping you. And if you take a look at this behavior is triggered by cause and effect. This is the cause and this is the effect that you have, and you just say, okay, that's it. I won't do anything about it. I mean, it happens, right? But this is the type of thinking that we react to situations rather than act on it. Like we're really intentional towards what we are doing and why we are doing it in the first place. Because as I've said, your past doesn't define your future. What you're doing right now defines your future. And as a leader of a business, as a leader of a company, and as a leader of a team, that's where we need to think to focus on our minds and our attention. Let me talk about the locus of control. This was presented as a talk during Life Coach Corner. So if you want to learn more about the locus of control, feel free to check out Life Coach Philippines, search on it, and try to get this into much deeper understanding. And the locus of control is the degree to which people believe that they, as opposed to the external forces, have control over the outcome or events of their lives. Like they have control over what happens in their life. That is the locus of control. This was developed by Julian Rother in 1954, and has since become an aspect of personality and psychology. And the tendency among many leaders, instead of looking from the inside, they look outside, trying to figure out which things to blame on, rather than holding themselves accountable towards what they need to do. And to see what happens to them in ways that, it's kind of difficult to respond already, rather than taking really the full accountability and making the decision to do better. The external locus of control talks about, what things happen to you. Why bother, right? There is nothing I can do about my future. It is what it is. And why does everything happen to me? You have that personal conversation. You have that thought bubble that you have these negative conversations and blaming the circumstance. Comparing it to the internal locus of control, which is you can make things happen. You know that what you can do, what you think about, you can accomplish. You determine your future and you make things happen for you because that is something that you can do and that is something that you can change. Having that clear grasp of what power you have if you just begin to change the way your mindset is, and to change how you take a look at relationship, and to change how you take a look at bosses or leaders, or you take a look at other people, your parents, your spouses. Just a shift or change, then you'd be able to create the life that you want. From external forces to self-awareness, we've talked about all of the external forces that we have. I have shared so far, right? Focusing on the influences of other people to us and how we make decisions. Let's shift a little bit and focus on ourselves, self-awareness, who we are, and what are the things that we need to do. What has been your role in the results that you are in right now? You know, taking a moment, maybe just a moment to reflect on the results that you're getting right now. Are those results the one that you want? Or are the results that you're getting the one that you don't want? Are the results that you have right now something that's serving you? Or are those results that you have, even when you work your butt off, no, doing the things you have, working 14 hours, you're not getting the results that you want? So what are you doing currently about it? And this is where, when you shift your focus into yourself, this is where the inner game starts taking place. The mind of the leaders, which they utilize this to work for them. They really are intentional on focusing on, okay, how can I utilize this current belief that I have, this current values that I have, this current experiences that I have, this current feelings that I have, this pain, this suffering that I have, to my advantage. It is the inner game state of being, which is the lens of how you see things as far as the world is concerned. Taking a look at your frozen beliefs and assumptions. We have that beliefs that we put in a freezer, and we just put it there so that it doesn't melt away. We try to protect it at times. It is something that we only have. But if you think about it, these are the things, these frozen beliefs and assumptions that you have, and how you see the world is the one that's driving on how you make choices and actions, which might inhibit your excellence on your performance, on the results that you have. So how long has that belief and assumptions of yours that are not serving you been in the freezer? How long has it been in there? Are you currently a team player? A team player who's there to win. You want to be able to win in the game of life? Or are you playing there to lose? Which one are you? Is a Honda better than a Ferrari? I think I remember Coach A sharing this, that a Kia cannot run like a Ferrari. I'm using Honda here, just to um, make it a little different. Just as a Honda, uh, this Honda NSX is a well-designed car, good engine, performance is great for those car guys out there, but it will never perform as a Ferrari. And that's the same with the leader's state of mind. The leader's state of mind needs to evolve and to be able to deal with the things that's happening in the surrounding, the uncertainties in the surroundings, the complexities of the surrounding. In order for their business to perform at the level that it is needed by the organization. You can't run like a Ferrari when you're a Honda right now, right? And the more that you really start developing your mind, you would be able to distinguish between the complicated things and the complex things. And you would be mindful and you would be creative on how to make the necessary or simple solutions. Simplicity is the key to everything. Now, sometimes we complicate too much in the workplace that we don't know what to do anymore. Like I've been teaching this um, five things that your boss doesn't teach you. The first one there is being brilliant at the basics. The basics is the simple ones. You don't need to complicate things, uh, because a great leader or someone that's their inner game and outer game are aligned makes complex things look like a simple situation. They just look they take a look at simple things and just explain it or show it or fix it in a simple way. And it means that there's more in a given situation that than just blaming it on cause and effect. This has caused it, and this is the effect. And you're more intentional about the answers because you take a look at it on a much broader perspective. You're perspectiving. You're putting yourself in different facets or different views of how the problem is being seen. Because at times, you instead of you having a conversation with someone and collaborating with that person, both of you disagrees on the number nine. The other person is looking at the other side, taking a look at its number nine, but the other is taking a look at it, looking at number six. Well, both of you are right, but you're arguing about it rather than understanding the perspective of the person, putting things in perspective and trying to figure out why they think that way, why they act that way, why they view the world that way. And if when you're able to do that, this requires, to be more, we would be able to distinguish more of the issues that are technical in nature, simple fix, what have you, and those that are adaptive challenges. Adaptive challenges is something that requires a new way for us to think, and we cannot resolve it by just throwing technical solutions at the issue. This one was created by Harvard professor Ronald Hipfeldt. Hopefully, I pronounce his name. But that is what adaptive challenge means. That you need to get out of whatever your beliefs, your system of thinking are, and thinking of creative ways for you to solve it, to fix it, or to take action in it rather than react on it. Let me give you this train example. Think about the train when they're having a technical issues. Mostly, what happens, like MRT, for example. And MRT, the story there is for you to be able to fix MRT, what they did is for have regular checkups and maintenance schedules for them to be able to see what's wrong with, the cart, what they need to change, and so on and so forth. And they blame the the materials or the lack of it of why MRT is not working. But if you take a look at it on an adaptive challenge, maybe the problem with MRT, again, just as an example, is the system of how the owner is currently structured. How they're taking care of it. You know, the mandates and the instructions of maybe the employees are just thinking of solving or having the maintenance as just not their problem. They're not their problem. So technical challenges requires quick fix. But adaptive challenges, you have to really dig deeper to identify what really is what's beneath the issue, and you need to find a solution for you that doesn't exist as of the current. And in that kind of space, you need a whole new mind, a whole new mind where you can be creative. You are empowered to be creative, and you do not have that anxiety or the fear that things might not go your way. Laying the foundation, Albert Einstein said that you cannot resolve a problem with the same state of mind at which the problem was experienced. Now, let me repeat that. You cannot resolve a problem with the same state of mind at which the problem was experienced. And if you think about this quote from Albert Einstein, if you are still in a space where your mindset, your beliefs, your attitudes are the same as what it has been, and how are you currently taking a look at life? How are you currently taking a look at your relationships? How are you currently taking a look at problems? How are you taking a look at currently your business? How are you currently taking a look at your people? And this is where the power of coaching is needed. Leaders needs to be coached so that they can evolve in the structure of the mind, so that they can unleash all of those creative juices that they have, because all of us are creative, but we're hindered by the fears, the doubts, and the guilts that we have in our life. And as leaders, we tend to just shut off all of these things that would bring us the life that we want. We give up. We give up. We don't do anything anymore. And that causes us to start searching for that hole in our hearts, and to understanding what is needed, what is required. I mean, I'm super successful in my career, in my business. I'm earning a lot of money, but something is missing. Something is missing in our lives. And we focus too much on our outer game, what others would see, what others would hear, what others would experience, rather than focusing on ourselves, our inner game, and creating the foundation of what it means to be authentically you. Because if you know yourself, you know your blind spots, you know your habits, you know your behaviors, you know your attitudes, you know your values, you know your behaviors, you would be able to overcome, and you would be able to be in a state where you can be adaptive on the challenges that you face. And people just who's being supported in this kind of environment where they're being coached, they're bringing this person into awareness, starts to think differently. And I've proven that. I've started my coaching career 2 years ago, and the beliefs that I have during that time, before I got certified and after the fact, has really made the changes in my life. And how did that happen? Um, I came into a stage where I was looking for something to fill up that void in my heart. Um, when you feel that at times that you're just doing the work and you're really getting all of these things that's benefit you, but once you go home, there's just something missing. You can't explain it. You can't articulate it. Yeah, your family is happy. They're getting all of the benefits of what you're doing, 6-digit salary and all of those benefits and what have you. But you're trying to look for something, but you cannot explain. And there was a time in my life that I made a decision to find a career shift, think of something that would, I think, would fill up void in my heart. And I was fortunate enough to be able to find life coaching. And that started my journey. That started my journey on working on my inner game and moving towards aligning it to my outer game. And it's not easy. You know, you're gonna have this beliefs. Like I said, you put it in the freezer, it's frozen, and you're trying to break that beliefs that you have so that you can change it with a belief that you know will serve you. Uh, is it perfect? No. But in the process, you're growing. It's aligning. The two are aligning. And I remember during a coaching conversation that I have with Master Coach A. She's watching the Hello, Master Coach A. I'm a product of life coaching too. I have a life coach. I heard a life coach, and I come to realize how the outer game that I have and the inner game that I have was not sinking in. Like the environment that I am in, which is the outer game, and my body, my inner game, is not in alignment. There's a disconnect somewhere. And we started working on that and moving towards my relationship, which is the outer game, and also my inner game, which is my emotions. Because my outer game is the one influencing my inner game rather than the other way around. Like my relationships, whatever relationship that I have is being influenced with my emotions, the way I respond to it, the way I take a look at it, the way that I see it, the way that I respond to it. And the same goes in my ideas, which is the outer game, and my mind, which is the inner game. Like I allow other people ideas to take over my mind, whatever it's in there, and not being intentional of what I put in. And that's really affecting the way that our performance is and the way that the results that we see in our outer game. Because there's a misalignment somewhere. Yeah, you would say, Coach, I'm okay, I'm successful here, and so on and so forth. But imagine if you can align those two, that your tolerations in the life that you have, and every one of us has tolerations, you would be able to create a over solution for that, for it to really start connecting and coming into a space where I know what I need to do in my heart. I know what I want to have in my heart. And it aligns to your mind. And eventually you will exude that because it's motivating you intrinsically from the heart to the mind. So your inner game, then it goes out to the outer game. Rather than us doing the things and being motivated because of the outer game going into the inner game, which is just the mind who's being, you know, used. So I like for you to, start reflecting on that and see how to think differently on how we see life, how we make decisions, and how our these external forces influences the way that we make decisions in our life. Certainty is a cruel mindset. Certainty is a cruel mindset. It hardens our mind against any possibility that we can do. You know, we don't allow other ideas to come in because we have this fear that we might not get the results that we want, or the comfort that we are in right now might be disrupted. And with all of the things that's happening right now, we're coming into a state of maybe depression in the next couple of years. You know, the changes in the robotics, the AI also. You'll see a lot of technologies right now, especially with the rise of digitalization. All of these things are starting to transform. And as of now, if you think about it, we need really leaders to start being creative about how the future would look like. But if we stick to the mindset that we have right now and saying that, hey, this is the first time that I experience this, I mean, that's okay. But how are we utilizing our inner game to be creative, to create the things that would help define humanity in the future, rather than being desperate of just being fear of the unknown? What would it take for us to start creating, to be creative? At the end, those people who have not learned about the past, you know, will not really have a good guidance of what the future is, because we don't change. We don't change the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we act. But those people who are transformers, yes, should I say, change agents, people that are aspiring to change the course of humanity in the future, are not afraid to take risk, to fail, to come into a space that I will do this whatever happens, even if my life is on the line. Because eventually, our generation will leave this place, and the next generation would be our children and their children. So, what are we creating for these people? What are this we creating for them, for our children? You know, when are you gonna start taking the leap of faith? At the end of the day, you're always gonna have a state where danger is infinite, right? You're always gonna see dangers there, on your left, on your life, on your right, on your back, above there, and safety is also amongst them. That's also infinite. You can, always run and protect yourself and not do anything. Be in the safety of whatever you're in right now. But thinking about that, is that really the kind of life that you want to live? Or there's more to life than what you see? And you know that in your heart. The bend in the road need not to be the end of the road. If the leaders find ways to transform themselves, then you would always see the path, and you would always see the light after the tunnel. Thank you very much for joining me, everyone. This is my pilot episode for this segment, The Inner Game. And my prayer and my hope is you're able to get something out of this talk, this segment. I'm putting out the foundation for every one of us to understand where we're at right now, especially with the situation with the pandemic. A lot of people are experiencing anxiety and depression during this time. And the bigger question is, what are we doing about these people? Like, we have the power, especially for the coaches out there, you have the power to help and transform and change people's lives. Stand up and allow yourself to start doing your purpose, your calling, your mission in life. Because people need us. People need us to just transform people. And also, leaders need to start finding ways to be able to see society as a world that's thriving and not just surviving. So that's it for me. Thank you very much. And thank you for spending time with me. This is again Coach Shaun. If you need support, if you need help, if you need support in your workplace, your company, just feel free to message me there. Email me at shaundejoya@gmail.com, or you may contact me through 0917-569-4200. And thank you very much. I hope to see you again next Friday at 10 p.m. Thank you. And just be reminded, be intentional of the things that you do, and you're going to get the results that you have. But that takes time, but that's okay, because you're given the life that you want. You just need to start working on it. That's it for me. Thank you very much. See ya. Bye bye.